bringing the stories of people just like us directly into your home and learning more about them. This is Trent Speaks. And this week it's Trent Speaks with a vitamin D deficiency. Yes, just today I found out actually that through some recent labs I had, I am deficient. Not just insufficient, I am deficient in vitamin D. What that means for you, I don't really know, because usually I would say I'm in a great mood when I'm podcasting. So for you, that doesn't really mean anything, which means I have no idea why we led the start of the podcast with the fact I am vitamin D deficient. Hope you're all having a great week. I know that I am. I am actually headed this afternoon to Illinois to finally meet one of Leanne's friends, Rachel and Ron, John, something like that. Just kidding, it's John. And so I'm super excited. You know, Rachel and I, we know each other basically through social media, through hearing about each other, through seeing pictures of each other, but we've never actually met in person. Every time I go to Illinois, Rachel seems to almost have this telepathic sense that I'm considering it or that I'm going to, because she is always inevitably gone. But this weekend, different story, so I'm excited to finally meet her. And obviously see my wife as well. Don't get me wrong there. I'm excited to see Leanne and spend time with her. You know, she was going to be a surprise guest on the podcast tonight. In terms of I was going to make a phone call to her while we were talking and going through some stuff that I want to talk about. However, she's actually at work right now, unfortunately. What can you do? Well, as you know, from a couple podcasts ago, I've been training for a Tough Mudder. And it's going well. I would say it's going well. It's definitely really taking a toll on me and wearing me out, but it's good. I'm excited to see how things go within the next 13 weeks. It'll be really interesting, but I'm excited for it. And today, or I guess yesterday, it's always hard for me to record this podcast because I know it airs on Thursday, but I've been recording it on Wednesday night lately, so I'm always getting my today, yesterday, whatever you want to call it, mixed up. You can probably hear me stirring my hot chata, as I like to call it. Today was like Christmas for me. I never order clothes, and I splurged from a Memorial Day sale at Old Navy, spent $250 on clothes, 22 items. So it was like Christmas getting all my clothes from Old Navy today. I'm excited to wear them and show them off because I'm pretty proud of my purchases. Leanne's not as happy because there's some graphic tees in there. And she's like, Trent, get away from the graphic tees. Like, I don't like you wearing those. So I digress. All right, you're probably wondering why, if you spent the first 3 or 4 minutes talking about random stuff, and I don't have an answer for that. What I do have an answer for is this week's topic. And I will say I've been really bad. I'll acknowledge I've been really bad about getting a guest on to Trent Speaks. Last week I thought Megan was going to be on. Time got away from us over Memorial Day weekend, so Megan wasn't on last week. This is the 3rd week in a row. This is the longest stretch I've gone without having a guest on the podcast. So randomly on Tuesday, the idea came to me, and I typed it in my phone because I was like, I want to hear from the people. I want to hear from the people of Facebook and Instagram. And so I posed a question on Wednesday, and I said, this is what the podcast is going to be about this week, but I also want to hear from you. How do you stay motivated? It was as simple as that. That was the one question I posed out on social media, and that's the one topic I want to focus on today, is how do you stay motivated? And as I was starting to kind of craft what this podcast was going to look like specifically, I realized that there's a lot more, at least for me right now, that I'm not staying motivated about than I originally thought. My original thought for this topic was in terms of Trent Speaks, and I'll talk on that more here in a second. Some other things that I thought of while I was jotting some notes down were, even as a hall director, even in my position where it's a lot slower pace for us in the summer, it can sometimes be hard to stay motivated because of the weather. And that's something that I talked about, I believe it was 2 weeks ago now, where the weather, it was rain that I used as an example, kind of, I guess, played a factor in our motivation, me and some other friends, and our motivation to want to work out. And we didn't want to work out because the rain just has that dreary mood about it. And actually, funny enough, a few days after that podcast aired, the exact same thing happened where it was raining or rainy, and all of us had zero motivation. We still worked out, but we just didn't have the motivation. And so that's why I wanted to talk about how do you stay motivated. Right now, I'm actually participating in a water challenge. And now you can't always put a monetary value on things, but there's that competition piece of, well, number one, I want my $10 back and I want to win the pot of money that's at stake. But there's also, like I said, the competition piece of it where I'm competing against people. And so I have a lot more of a drive or a willpower to make sure that I'm drinking water and that I'm staying on top of it and doing what I can to drink as much as I can every day. This hot chata that I have right now, this is the first, I guess, like sip of alcohol that I've had since who knows when. But the whole month of June so far, I've literally only drank water except one strawberry lemonade at Buffalo Wild Wings. And so, so you're like trying, all right, get back to it. The original thought for this how to stay motivated is I've been feeling really like, I don't want to say down. Down isn't the word lately. I don't know what word I'm looking for, to be honest, but a few weeks ago, maybe this is more like a month and a half ago at this point, this is probably about a month ago, a few weeks ago, doesn't matter. I posted on Trent Speaks Instagram, and I was outside and I had been working with note cards, working on my speech or my talk, whatever you want to call it a little bit. And I said, you know what? I even said in the caption of the photo, like, I can feel it's going to be a really productive summer and I'm going to get a lot done and I'm going to have the drive this summer. But I've lost it. I don't think that I've done a single thing, excluding the podcast, I don't think I've done a single thing for my talk or with the note cards since that time I was outside about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Why? Because I haven't had the motivation. And I know that seems like a really terrible excuse, and I'm willing to say it is a very terrible excuse. And I'm not using it as an excuse. I'm just telling it like it is. I just have not had the motivation. And it hasn't just been that. I've needed to clean my apartment, which I have been because I want to get my carpet shampooed. But still, it's taken me longer than expected because I just don't have the motivation. I don't know if it's from working all day. I don't know if it's from my back being extremely painful lately, more than normal. And then, again, I don't want you to think that these are excuses, but there's things that are happening that are causing me to not have the motivation or have the lack of motivation. And so you have to think, what is it for you? right now? Is there something that you want to be doing? Are you making excuses? Or is there really something that's holding you back or kind of taking away, pulling away from the motivation you could have for something? My friend Dan, I'm going to throw a lot of names out here in the next couple of minutes because I got an overwhelming response, actually, more than I thought I would, on both Facebook and Instagram in terms of people answering my question. My friend Dan was saying that he, for example, I'm pulling up Facebook here. He, for example, needs help staying motivated in his workouts. So like for him, what is it that's demotivating him, I guess? Is it not working out? Is it working all day and then being drained from work and not being able to work out or not having the energy to work out? Is it that he wants to go hang out with friends instead? I think the thing that I'm saying here, and I don't mean to pick on Dan, but the thing I'm saying here is what we really need to do is first we need to acknowledge that we're demotivated and that there's a lack of motivation. I think the second thing that we need to do is figure out, okay, I know I don't have the motivation for it, or I know it's been 3 or 4 weeks since I worked on what I've been wanting to work on for the past 3 or 4 weeks, but what is it that's affecting me? What is it that's taking away from what I want to do? So like I said, for me, I know that it's my back. I know that it's being tired or not having energy, which actually that's where I think part of the vitamin D stuff comes in. Again, not making excuses. I'm just trying to spitball here and trying to think off the cuff. But for me, that could potentially be a contributing factors of not having the energy is that lack or that deficiency of vitamin D. I'll acknowledge that it's also wanting to just relax and have time for myself, which self-care is a big thing. My friend Nicole even said that. Self-care, knowing that nothing is ever perfect and that's super okay. But also I need to recognize that sometimes I just need to push myself. For me, at least, I just need to push myself to do it. And that's something that Leanne said in response to the question as well on Instagram. She said, make whatever you're trying to do a priority and don't let the day finish without completing what it is that you're trying to do. Now that's a little bit hard, obviously, because you don't control the time in the day, but you can manage the time in the day. You can manage what your day is going to look like and how you're going to split up that time. Like I said, for me, sometimes I just need to relax. I need to unwind. I need to not focus on anything and just watch some Friends, or usually it's Impractical Jokers if they're on, or even play video games. But I'm really guilty of that lately. Actually, I've been doing really good about not playing video games, but I've been really bad about playing on my phone. And so it's, like I said, I think the biggest thing we need to do is to recognize that. Let me just share a couple other things that people have said in terms of how they stay motivated. This one I have to expand a little. This person, Faith had said podcasts, her Bible, routine, manifestation. She also likes to... I'm going to mention Faith here, as well as Daisy, Katie. I think that was it. But at least 3 people said goals, setting goals. And I know Jana said setting goals as well. I'll get to Jana's in a minute, though hers is a little bit different. But writing a list, whether it's a list of goals, list of dreams, list of to-dos, writing down affirmations. For example, Daisy said, oh, Daisy's is longer than I thought. So I didn't read all of Daisy's before I went on. But Daisy said making goals, figuring out like how much she would need to save or to budget for whatever it is that she's trying to save for, watching YouTube videos specifically about whatever she's trying to motivate herself to do. And when she's trying to motivate herself to clean her house, for example, she watches decluttering or cleaning vlogs. When she's trying to motivate herself to redo her budget as much as she can, she will watch financial videos like the Financial Diet. And then Katie was talking about, I also do make goals if I'm not motivated. Things don't get done, and then I let others down. I write lists, write in my positivity jar, and talk to my friends and family. So as you can see, a lot of people write goals. Jennifer, she talks about knowing her family's needs and wanting to be good to them motivates her. There was Monica, who also talked about her kiddos being motivators to her. Stu said consistency is something that is what keeps him motivated. And I think that something Nicole had said, bring Nicole back in here, something Nicole had said earlier is she likes to reward herself. And there's different types of motivation. But Nicole said she likes to reward herself. So if I do X, I get to watch Z episode on Netflix. She said for most things that she does, though, in terms of like internal motivation, that takes the wheel in relation to work or hobbies. And so you gotta think, what is it going to be that's going to trigger your intrinsic motivation to keep you going? I just want to bring up a couple other things that people said because they may be helpful for you in terms of staying motivated. Sabrina, and so these next few here, these are people who have their own business already. And so they are people I actually reached out to specifically and said, what is it that keeps you motivated when you're trying to work on your photography business? Both of these people are photographers. Sabrina said the environment that she's working in. One thing that she said that would be great for me, so if anyone would like to take me up on this, let me know, but needing a buddy and going to like work dates, basically. So going to a coffee shop together, or going to somewhere else than a coffee shop together. But needing a buddy to help her stay accountable and to stay motivated. She's really struggling, she said. She does to-do lists. And so writing down even the smallest little acts, such as making coffee, taking a shower, and being able to cross those off makes her feel much more productive. Jana, again, I'm going to pull Jana back in. Jana also has a photography business. Jana said that she will make a list of things to accomplish for the next day, and that work isn't viewed in her mind as an option. Work is something that is mandatory, because she could very easily say to herself, I'm my own boss and it can wait, which is why she said that she uses the mindset of this isn't an option and it needs to get done. She also talked about tasks needing to be done to present herself at her very best, to be able to present her best work. The last person that I haven't mentioned yet is Kyle. And I think that Kyle really said something that I've said before and I've always thought a lot about. So actually, he doesn't know it, but I'm going to see if I can get Kyle on the phone real quick, and him and I can talk through this one together. So let's see if we can't get Kyle on the phone here. It's interesting. It's like, hello, you've won $2,000. Hello, is this Kyle? Yes, you have won $20,000. think he's about to lose out on the money I was about to offer him. Oh.
Your call has been...
That's very unfortunate. Oh, man, he has lost out on the money I was going to give him. Oh, straight bummer. All right, let's see if there's someone else we can call and talk about motivation. Do 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 do. Do, 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 do. We'll call my buddy Omar. Omar, he works out a lot. Hello, what are you doing?
What's up, man?
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm at a friend's house about to watch the basketball game.
Oh, all right. Well, have a great time then.
Oh, yeah. What's up, dude? You good?
Oh, yeah, I'm good. I was just calling. I was going to ask you a question, but you are busy, and that's okay.
Okay. You want to text me?
No, that's all right. I'll text you and I'll tell you what it was about, but that'll be all right.
Okay. Cool, bro.
All right, have a good one.
Yeah, you too, man. Have a great night.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay.
Okay, 0 for 2, and you know what that means? That means third time is the charm, so we have to. I feel like we don't have a choice. We have to call someone else. And that person is going to be Bailey. So we will see. Well, wouldn't it be funny, though, if Bailey is like, oh, I'm watching a basketball game.
¿Qué pasa?
Oh, she answers in Spanish. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
What's up? Doing well.
What are you up to?
I'm watching some TV before I start my homework for the night.
Oh my gosh. This may be perfect then for me to ask you. Do you have a minute?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, okay. So I'm actually, I'm recording a podcast right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so say hello to the people.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, well, they're not here right now. They will be here.
Oh, okay.
They come to me on Thursdays, basically.
Okay. See you guys tomorrow.
Well, no, you can't give away the day. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, I'm new.
Yeah, it's very obvious. So I'm actually talking, you're the third person I've called, and I just said third time's a charm. So this week I'm talking about how to stay motivated. I don't know if you saw my posts out on social media at all, but I'm talking about really the hard part sometimes is to stay motivated with the things that you want to accomplish or the things that you want to do. How do you stay motivated?
It's a really pertinent question. So I've been kind of finding myself in a rut lately. I haven't been able to get to the gym, and just with work and school and, all the usual suspects. So actually on Monday, I had a retreat at work with like 200 of my best friends. And it was all about being an authentic leader. And so it was a lot of introspection, kind of got to look at themes throughout my life and goals. So that was kind of a nice reset for me this week. And it kind of made me realize that going to the gym and maintaining my mental and physical health balance is important. So I've been starting this week trying to make the gym more of a priority. It kind of seems like if I can just stick with the gym, everything else falls into place for me. So I'm not sitting at home being lazy, and I'm eating healthier. So I'm trying to get back at it. I've also recently consolidated all of my calendars between like Google and iPhone and all that. So that's been really helpful lately too. It's just kind of revamping my organization. And this is all within like the last 3 days.
So I guess what advice, I'll keep it short for you so you can get to your homework, obviously. And since you weren't expecting this. So I guess what advice would you have for people of how they can find their motivation or how they can get motivated to do the things they want to do?
I think taking a step back and trying to figure out what your next goal is, and then figure out what steps you need to achieve that. So for me, it was I needed to maintain my mental and physical health between work and school and everything. So I realized that I need to get back at the gym. So that's the action part that I've been taking in. I think just finding the balance between life is important. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, it answers the question perfectly.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being the first ever surprise guest on the podcast, Bailey.
I love it.
All right.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, of course. Good luck with your homework.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bailey is great. She will actually hopefully be a guest on the podcast later this summer, so stay tuned for that. And one of my goals with this podcast, like I said, I do need to get more guests on, and I'm very aware of that. And so one of the things that I've been thinking about doing is creating a schedule and writing it down. And so if you are interested in sharing your story, because whether you know it or not, you have a story to tell, you have a story to share, feel free to reach out to me and I will get you plugged into a calendar. Again, I'm going to print a calendar off. I think that'll hold me accountable in that regard. And then I'll just kind of go from there. I'm super excited about it though. I think motivation is something that is a struggle for a lot of people. And I think that's shown through the response, the overwhelming response that I got today just by asking, how do you stay motivated? And so again, yet another topic, yet another week where it just goes to show that whether you know it or not, there are other people and there are a lot more people in the same boat as you than you would ever realize or you would ever think. I have 2 quotes, but I can only find one. So I'm just going to leave you with one quote for this week. Don't be afraid to share your story. It could be the key that unlocks someone else's prison. Think about that. The last thing I want to leave you with this week is, as I mentioned, Kyle, I thought he had a really great piece of, he had a really good response to how do you stay motivated. And he had said he likes to prove others wrong. And in the regard that if someone tells him he can't do something, it motivates him even more to show that person that he can do whatever it is that they're saying he can't do, and that he wants to prove them wrong in that regard. All right. As always, feel free to reach out to me at Trent Speaks on Instagram, trentspeaks@gmail.com via email. Don't forget to check out Margaret's Mom Life with the smithwife.wordpress.com. Once again, that's Mom Life with the smithwife.wordpress.com. I don't know what's going to happen for next week. Who knows? It's going to be a mystery. Is there going to be a guest? Is there going to be another week of Trent rambling? It's unknown, and you won't know until you check in on the podcast next week. But until next time, have a good one.